The Fighter, more significant David O. Russell's film with Mark Wahlberg and Christian Bale and Amy Adams, who's a significant role in it. We would run a clip, but we can't because two companies that seemingly don't have anything to do with the movie are suing each other. So because Viacom's suing YouTube, and we can't put it on YouTube.
Right. So Ben and I are going to box.
Right. It's totally.
And I'm Amy Adams.
Right. That's right. So Christy, you have more responsibility than here to tell us what it's about.
I forgot my sock puppets at home. I wish I had known. I'm very sorry about that. This is based on the true story of Irish Micky Ward. I know, in slow motion, like Raging Bull, with the extra splatter of spit coming out. Irish Micky Ward, fighter in Lowell, Mass. His older brother, Dickie, older half-brother, Dickie, former boxer, supposedly knocked out Sugar Ray Leonard.
Not knocked out. Dickie Eklund went the distance with Sugar Ray Leonard and knocked him down.
Right. Sugar Ray Leonard
Although
was down.
There is a theory that he may have tripped. Right. Anyway, he was down. And so Micky's been living in the shadow of that his whole life. He wants to make a comeback as a boxer, as they are all want to do. And he has a relationship with Amy Adams, and he overcomes personal obstacles in the ring and out. Take a look. Oh, no, you can't.
That's the whole point. You can't take a look.
I'm teasing to nothing.
We have to act it out. Yeah.
So there you go.
And Christian Bale. Christian Bale also has a.
He's a crack addict.
That's my crack addict.
This is the universal sign for crack addict.
I don't even know what that is. Is that how people smoke crack?
I guess. I don't know. But
I'm sorry, Matt. Is that how people smoke crack?
Absolutely. That's how I do it.
So, no, but it's great. I mean, this has serious awards buzz. I hate that word buzz, but this is like shorthand, whatever, for Christian Bale, and like duly so for supporting actor. He dominates the thing, even though Mark Wahlberg is the star of it. He's wanted to get this movie made.
And is very good.
He's very good. And he's wanted to get this movie made for like 4 years. I mean, he grew up in Massachusetts, and he was a big fan of boxing, and Micky Ward was a childhood hero of his.
These are like the stars. Mickey and Dickie are the legends of Lowell, Massachusetts.
There you go. Yeah. Home of the Industrial Revolution, Lowell, Mass. So he wanted to get this movie made. It's clearly a very personal movie to him. But Christian Bale just dominates the whole thing because he's just wiry and loose and hilarious and self-deprecating and self-destructive. And it's kind of fun to see him break out like that compared to the Batman movies and compared to even something like American Psycho, where he has a personality, but never as funny as this. We've never seen him funny like this.
Where he's good in 310 Yuma, but he's not.
But he's serious.
Alive.
There's a mania to Christian Bale's performance here that I don't think that we've seen out of him, and he plays this role. You know, he's dropped a ton of weight. He's back to about where he was, or close to it, when he did The Machinist. He
lost 60 pounds for that role.
I need to do that. Maybe I'll start doing.
Go on the Machinist diet.
Exactly. And you know, he looks like, you know, the crackhead that's lost his teeth, and he's just got that wired, manic energy throughout almost the whole movie, and it's hypnotic, and he's fantastic. But I also have to point out, Amy Adams really does an amazing performance. You know, we're used to seeing her kind of play the cute ingenue, kind of the nice little love interest, and she plays this girl who's really got kind of a spine to her. And, you know, this isn't just this nice, friendly, happy Amy Adams performance.
No, and she's not even a sort of a dedicated stand by her man.
Right.
Like she's got her own agenda, and she's got her,
and a past. One thing that you always point out is when, you know, like the female love interest or whatever has a past. So often they're just there and they look good and they're supportive. But she has like a dark side and a history and
she gets bitchy and she's this really fleshed out character, and Amy Adams is absolutely up to the task here.
I want to say a couple things. First, we'll go back to Christian Bale, but we'll talk about Amy Adams for a second, and I don't want to be I want to be a little politically incorrect, but not massively so. Like, they give her, she's got a punch, like, and I love that. But
she's still a skinny person.
But it's deliberate. Like, she does not look like a Hollywood star. She looks like a girl who lives in Lowell.
Right, she's not glammed up.
Really hot. She's not glammed up and drinks. And there's no way that when David O. Russell, when we pan down for the first time and see her in her tank top and bare midriff and short shorts at the bar, that's not Keira Knightley. That's not Mila Kunis. Like, that looks like a girl who lives and is not, and I thought that helped enormously. Yeah, she's still hot, but the whole point was she's not toned. She doesn't have a six-pack or whatever it is that you girls have.
That I never had, even pre-baby. But hey, but that's sort of part of the character, as you say, because she mentions, you know, I drink too much and I've worked in too many bars.
Yeah.
and it all makes sense. No, she's great in it. Also, Melissa Leo
Oh, yeah.
is totally over the top, but in a fun way as their mom, and she's sort of Carmela Soprano-ish, just tacky with the nails and the hair. Some people have criticized the fighter for the gaggle of sisters, like the 7 sisters who were
Yeah.
sitting around the house, chain smoking and drinking
So
Budweiser.
it's the 2 brothers, Mickey and Dickie,
Right.
and then 7
They have 7 sisters. Yeah, there are 9 kids in the family, and they have this gaggle of girls, and I bought it. Like, they're
Yeah,
hilarious.
absolutely.
These people exist. My husband grew up in Nashua, New Hampshire, across the border from Lowell. I've been there. These people are real. So they're sitting there with the giant hair and the cigarettes going, it's that slut Charlene from the bar. We got to
Yeah,
get her.
exactly.
Like, that's absolutely
I hear she's wild, like on MTV.
One of those MTV girls.
Right, they mentioned that she's got this past like on MTV, and then they later in the movie start calling her the MTV girl.
Yeah.
She's like, what does that mean?
Yeah, you're wild.
But it's great. It feels very gritty and very of its place. It kind of
Right.
oozes atmosphere.
Right, and the family dynamic like kind of walks this line. Sometimes it's really melodramatic, and then it's just laugh out loud funny. Like the nasty things they say to each other are legitimately funny, and it's kind of a relief to be able to laugh at this family that is so crazy and so beyond dysfunctional. Like there's such a weird dynamic going on in this family. And at one point, the Mickey says to his mother, like, I'm your son too. Like, why is, everything seems to be focused on the older brother. And it's almost this weird kind of prodigal son story that there's that kind of dynamic to it. But this is, I think, overall just a fascinating movie. I really enjoyed it.
The Bond movies open with open with the sort of frequently dramatic scene that had nothing to do with it just shows Bond solving he's on the ski slopes or he's rappelling down a mountain, and then you get the action movies that start now with something huge happening. And this has as powerful and open as you can have, and it beats every explosion, and it was just it's Bale and Wahlberg talking. It really opens first on Bale, doesn't it? Or
I
does
think
he
it
walk
opens
in?
Right.
on the
No,
street. It
it's-
opens on the street,
I ju-
and Mark Wahlberg is like shoveling the gravel in the asphalt.
Right, but no. As soon as we see them
I see,
talking,
I
though,
see.
I think first
No,
we-
it starts with Bale on the couch.
Right,
because
Bale on
it's,
the couch.
It's the
That's right.
documentary
It's- he's
that
shooting the
HBO had
right.
been making about Dickie Dickie Eklund, the Crack in America series, because the HBO had done this documentary on him about the effects of crack on people in Lowell, and the whole time, for the first act of this movie, you start, up until about halfway through the movie, all these characters think that it's about
His comeback,
his
his boxing
comeback,
comeback,
and then
right.
they watch it, and it turns out it's this portrait of a crack addict.
But it opens, as you say, with Dickie Eklund, with Christian Bale on the couch, and I was within a second. You're like, holy crap, what am I watching? And this is an unbelievable performance. And you don't think that Christian, and the makeup and the way he looks is unbelievable, and his wiry, manic, thoughtful character that he reveals instantly. I mean, you could blow up 100 churches and no one's going to pay more attention than what Christian Bale delivers
Right.
in the first 15 seconds of that movie, and then sustains for the next couple hours.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's great too is that it's not just the one note of the crack addict, right? It's somebody who's got a real depth to him. Like
Yeah.
you really see different aspects of Dickie's personality and all of it. I mean, it's great. It's,
And
And an arc, a word that I'm fond of. He has an
Yes.
arc.
He has an arc, and it's a credible arc because it's not this kind of arc. It's this
Yeah.
kind of arc. It's the arc that we all have if we try to get better, but we don't get there right away. And even when he aspires to get clean, there's not some, I'm going to do it for my kid. You don't even know throughout whether he's going to stay clean the next hour, let alone the next day, week, or month. So anyway, I loved it. I found it compelling, really, from start to finish. I found it lullless. But real quick, boxing. Like, what is it with boxing? Because it's barbaric and beautiful. These guys are schoolyard bullies and master tacticians. And I want to hate boxing. Hate it because, we know now in football we see these guys going to the NFL finally extremely conscious of what concussions can do. And these guys are getting concussions from what look to be fairly moderate hits. Every boxer must have an unbelievable concussion after every fight, let alone every time they spar. And we know now, we see what happens to so many of these guys in their 40s and 50s. This is barbaric, but yet it's a chess match.
Oh, there really isn't even that much boxing in this movie.
No, it just makes me think, though, even when you see it, but it does make you appreciate the other part of boxing, the sort of thoughtfulness of boxing, that they're not just schoolyard bullies, that there's something like they're generals, and there's all this strategy, and I want to hate boxing. And then every time, now I want to know every part of its history, and I went home and I looked up everything about the Irish Micky Ward, Arturo Gatti fights, the 3 fights they had. I mean, it's boxing is beautiful, and it's the worst thing that we've ever done that we officially sanction. I mean, it's totally barbar. And I want every boxing poster that has ever, all I want in my house is just boxing posters.
Chicks will dig that.
I don't know. I'm not entirely sure.
You should start boxing.
Your lair.
Right, I'm ready to exactly, yeah. And
It's time for your comeback, man.
And I want my house to smell like a gym.
Nice.
I think girls will go for that too.
Yes.
All right, we'll get some numbers. So, Christy, why don't you kick it off?
8.
8?
8.
So it wasn't. What was the last thing you gave a 10 to?
Inception.
No, you gave Social Network a 10, didn't you?
That too.
Okay, look at you, you're crazy with the 10s. So you're saying that, I love that. So you're saying that Social Network was 2 better?
There is formula
was less
here.
boxing.
There is a little formula and there's a little predictability. It's a very small reservation on my part.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's a very small reservation on my part.
All right.
8.5.
8.5.
8.5.
Hit Matt now. Matt didn't give it
Let's
a 10.
go, bring it.
Matt
Come on.
might hit back.
That's right.
I give it an 8.5. There is a little bit of predictability. You know, it's
some crack.
It's a sport. It's a sports movie, and you kind of know, how a sports movie is likely to end. Right?
I disagree.
I felt like this story could have been told without wrapping it up in the context of the big fight. I felt like
yes, I agree.
Probably could have been just as effective as a drama without needing that. And so that's why I don't give it a perfect 10.
Well, one, they're hamstrung a little by the true story, based on a true story nature of it. They obviously add some stuff, but the arcs
and that's the thing, because if you looked it up, where he was in his career was a bit different than the way the movie portrays it.
a little bit. But so I agree with you. They didn't have to end with the big fight. That said, I don't think it was a typical sports movie because I had literally no idea what was going to happen. I did not know whether he was going to win that fight, lose that fight, who was going to drop dead at what point. I didn't know.
There's
any
no
of that.
way he's going to lose. Really, you walked into that last fight thinking like there's,
Sure, of course,
Okay.
because
All right.
I mean, because
This wasn't $1 Million Baby.
right, but he's not.
Marky Mark does not die at the end of it.
But I mean, it's a true story, and he's not Earth's most famous boxer.
No.
I don't know when he loses.
Unless you're from
Guy
Lowell.
lost like 7 fights. If your record in boxing is 30-7, it's like you went through a baseball season and went 3-159. Like
No.
30-7 is the worst record a boxer could ever have.
I don't mean you should know because it's already a historical fact. I mean,
Right.
you should know based on like the fact
Based
that
on
it's a
sports
movie
movies. And you don't
it's
do
got a
movies
formula
about
to it,
right. You don't do a movie about an athlete unless
but-
it's likely that the athlete's going to win the big match, the big game at the end.
But I didn't think it was so much about the boxing. I thought it was about the brothers, and therefore I didn't know what was going to happen because I thought there was a legitimate way that this could have ended triumphantly without victory in the ring.
You don't have to justify janking the score up. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Anyway, I give it a 12.
Totally counterbalancing.
Past 11 even.
I give it a 9. I thought it was great. I mean, we're not that far apart.
And this
You
makes
only-
math
all that you
so
only give it a
easy.
9.
This
Yeah,
makes
no,
math easy too.
I thought
like
it was great.
that
Yeah,
about it.
8.5 for.
Like I said, 8.5.
All right, Matt nailed it. All right, everybody, don't do drugs. We'll be. Come on. Nothing. You got to show him. See, it's not safe to share the same
Exactly.
crack pipe. That's what my mom always said.